The next few examples that we do require you to factor out a greatest common factor. If you haven't checked out the greatest common factor video, check it out, because the further you get in factoring, you always want to check for GCF. No matter what method you're learning that could be new, GCF will always repeat itself within each different factoring method. So if you notice, A is not initially 1. So right now, our A value is 2. Always check for a GCF first. It could be that this is no longer a factoring a trinomial quadratic where A is 1, but it could be that if we factor out the greatest common factor. All of our coefficients are even, so we know they are all divisible by 2. Our GCF is 2. So we're going to factor out a 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 1 times x squared is x squared. 54 divided by 2 is 27, and 100 divided by 2 is 50. Now that we've factored out the GCF, we do have a trinomial quadratic where A is equal to 1. So we're going to take our 50 and list our factor pairs. 50 is positive, and B is also positive, so I know all my factor pairs are going to be positive. Again, you should get to a point where you should look at it and just see and not have to list them out. So I'm going to go straight to 2 plus 25 equals 27. So now I know that this trinomial quadratic is going to factor into x plus 2 times x plus 25. Let's factor 3x to the third plus 12x squared minus 63x. Now, this is not a quadratic. The largest degree is not a 2. It's actually a 3. Nor is the leading coefficient 1. I do know that this is a trinomial, though. I have 3 terms. So I'm going to check for a GCF first to make sure it's not a trinomial quadratic. My leading coefficient is a 3. 12 is definitely divisible by 3. If you didn't know if 63 was divisible by 3, I've done a magic trick to show that whether a number is divisible by 3. 6 plus 3 is 9, and 9 is divisible by 3, which means that 63 is divisible by 3. And each of our terms has at least 1x. So our GCF is 3x. So we're going to factor out 3x. 3x cubed divided by 3x is x squared. 12x squared divided by 3x is 4x. And negative 63x divided by 3x is negative 21. Now we have a quadratic trinomial that we can factor. Our C value is negative 21. We know when our C is negative, we would have to list both the negative. We have to switch the factor pairs with the negative. But I know 7 plus negative 3 equals positive 4. So my factor pair is 7 and negative 3. So we have x plus 7 times x minus 3. We've reached our last example with factoring a trinomial quadratic that has a greatest common factor. So another example is factor x to the fourth minus 12x cubed plus 27x squared. In this case, our leading coefficient is a 1. And notice there's nothing in front of x to the fourth, so there's an invisible 1. But I do see that I have a GCF. Each of my terms has at least x squared. So my GCF is x squared X to the fourth divided by x squared is x squared. Negative 12x cubed divided by x squared is negative 12x. 27x squared divided by x squared is positive 27. So again, now we're left with a trinomial quadratic to factor. Our C value is 27. We keep in mind that C is positive, but B is negative. So we know that both of our factors are going to be negative. Negative 9 and negative 3 multiply to 27, and when I add them, they add to negative 12. So my factor pair is negative 9 and negative 3. So x minus 9 times x minus 3. I hope you've enjoyed the Factoring a Trinomial Quadratic series. I look forward to seeing you in other videos, and I look forward to learning and studying with you more.